A couple of things I think that need to be explained about what's actually going on with the post offices in rural Ireland. The former Department of Finance Secretary General John Moran said in a speech in May 2016 that Ireland cannot afford rural Ireland, or words very close to that effect. So this was coming from government, a former Secretary General of Finance. Ireland can't afford rural Ireland. So we have to look at what's been going on with rural Ireland. But there's a second force at play here, and that's our banking sector. Our banking sector are charging us 2, 3, 4 and 5 times the interest rates that our counterparts can get in Germany and in France. It's outrageous. And they will not countenance competition to the pillar banks, to the privately owned pillar banks who have a monopoly on the creation of credit. Now, when the banks in Ireland were bailed out, our government gave an undertaking, gave a commitment to introduce competition into the banking market. That hasn't happened. Bank after bank after bank has left the market. Now, we're being conned with what's going on with the post office network, because what actually they have done is they've corporatized it, and they've made An Post into a corporate entity, and all the network, the postmasters, are gaining nothing out of any of these proposals. And let me explain that, because it's very important. An Post, it appears, are now introducing agency banking. Agency banking is where they become agents for pillar banks such as Ulster Bank, Danske Bank, possibly AIB, and maybe other international banks. They're not producing product of their own. They're not creating credit. And our post office, if it's turned into a proper real bank, like the Kiwi Bank model in New Zealand, can create credit. It can give mortgages to our young people and to the rest of us at 2%, which is definitely half what the pillar banks are charging. So this is very important that people understand this. We don't want an agency bank. See, the banks are closing down their branches around rural Ireland because they're going to get their work done on the cheap through the post offices. But interest rates will stay high. 2, 3, 4, 5 times what we're paying, and there'll be no competition. But the worst of the whole thing is that the pillar banks, they will suck out the revenues out of each and every community. The profits will go out to the pillar banks, a little bit will be left with An Post just to say that they're doing nicely, and nothing in it for postmasters, nothing in it for communities. So it's not really about save our post offices. We're using the wrong business model. If we change the business model, allow them to copy the Kiwi Bank model, they're immediately making money. The Kiwi Bank in New Zealand is making around $100 million every year, which is going into the exchequer. And if the government want to give it back to communities, well, so they can. And that's what we would recommend here, that profits stay within communities. So the post office network is an incredibly valuable asset belonging to us, the people of Ireland. And how dare An Post say that they use this trick where postmasters wanted to retire? Of course postmasters want to retire. We all have to retire. But that doesn't say the post office has to leave the village or the community. There should be another post office. It should be offered out to somebody else. So if we want a banking sector that works, if we want a post office that's a multi-service provider, including full banking, we must follow the Kiwi model. And down the road from that, and I don't want to introduce too many things into the equation, but we have a huge problem in our insurance sector. We have an insurance cartel. And we can set up our own state insurance company. We have to at this stage, and we can administer that through the post office network as well. But until we get the message inside these walls here that it's not the corporation, it's not the corporations that should come first, it's the public interest. So thank you all very much.